Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our new Thursday morning education bits. So each week at 7:30 a.m., I'm going to jump on here and just give you a bite size of some tools, tips, or strategies to help you on your motorsport sponsorship journey. Hi, everybody. I'm Belinda Risley, founder of Motivate Training Management, for those who I don't know. Thank you very much for joining me this morning. If you're watching this replay later, of course, you can comment anytime and we'll be sure to get back to you. So I've just finished a class. I'm just doing anyway, today, guys, I just want to come on. Obviously, it's 1st of July. It's the beginning of the financial year, or it could be in your last quarter wherever you are in the world. It's important that you have clear understanding about your financial expenses, especially when it comes to racing. Everyone wants to go racing and they get excited about being in this sport, and they start off with karting and think, wow, this is fantastic, and surely soon enough the cost all seem to escalate. I know families that have spent over 150,000 just in going go-kart racing on a national scale. So it definitely, we know it's not a cheap sport. So therefore we need to know where our money's coming from. We can't always just rely on sponsorship. Unfortunately, financial sponsorship, especially now, is definitely drying up. People aren't going to be handing out $30,000, $25,000, even $10,000 these days in sponsorship. So it's really important that we have a clear understanding of our sponsorship and of our financials. And it's important to know where we're spending all of our money. Just like in any business, I push really highly that motorsport is a business. Yes, it is a sport, but also it needs to be treated like it's a business because of the high cost. Make sure it's really important that you have a clear understanding of your financials. Sorry, guys, if you've got any questions, just pop them into the comments and I'll answer them. As I said, we're talking about expenses and knowing our financial costs when it comes to racing. So we know on average it costs around $150,000 to go racing in a year. So it's massive. That is obviously on a national scale, but even from a club round, you're still looking around 50,000 plus. So if you don't have that funds just sitting there ready to spend on racing, you need to be able to budget for it and or find sponsorship. When you are wanting sponsorship, sponsors also like to know where is their money going. So it's great that you actually break down and work out exactly what you need a sponsorship for and what you need in the financials for. So when you are doing sponsorship proposals, you can say, look, we're actually asking for a hypothetical $3,000, and that's going to get us our tires for the year. And so that's a lot easier transaction than just saying, oh, we've got a gold, silver, and bronze package and everyone's getting the same benefits. So more and more sponsors are wanting to know, where is my money going and how am I contributing towards it? So unless you know your financials, then it's really hard for you to say what that money is actually going for. If you're wanting an expense sheet, if you guys haven't done one, I highly recommend it. Obviously, on this downtime, it probably looks like now with the lockdown of Victoria that national series probably will be cancelled for the whole year. From about 5 or 6 series that I'm involved in, that is the talk on the town. So unfortunately, thanks to Victoria, I shouldn't say Victoria because I'm in Victoria, but thanks to the people down in Melbourne, it's looking like all the national series will be cancelled because we can't go anywhere. So now's the time to get all of that behind the scenes stuff done. It's a fantastic opportunity if you haven't already registered your business, your motorsport company, your motorsport business with an ABN to do so. The other advantage of having an ABN is that sponsors going forward can get a tax receipt as well. We did a fantastic podcast episode, what was it? I think it was episode 22 with Scott McKenzie, and he's from McKenzie's Lawyers. And we go into about what's tax deductible. So if you haven't listened to that, I'll pop that into the comment section today, and you can listen to that around about what you can actually claim back, what sponsors can actually claim back, and again, anything that they can claim back through their tax is going to be fantastic and definitely a benefit in going forward as well. Obviously, you need to have the ABN. Okay, cool. I'll just bring that Thanks for the question. So definitely if you've got like an ABN that you can get that all tax deductible. So I've just had a question come through. I'm thinking for the sponsors, is it a good idea taking them out for a track fun day? Yes, of course. Anything that you can get them involved in the experience and what you're doing will be beneficial. The more that you can get your sponsors involved, then the better it is for everybody. Once they can definitely like feel that experience, that excitement that you experience, then they're going to be fully on board, because at the end of the day, you're living their dream. So I definitely recommend you can take them out on the track. So again, guys, just really important that you do your expenses. Take this time to work it all down. When you're working out through your expenses, make sure you're including like your wage loss for those days that you're away, your mechanic pay, all those little like incidentals like food, travel, accommodation. On our racing expense sheet, we've got a few of those outlined. So again, if you're wanting that expense sheet, just pop in race expenses at any time, even if you're just watching this a little bit later on today or tomorrow, and I'll send that out to you. So it's just to try and get you thinking and planning and budgeting in order to go racing, because unfortunately sponsorship is not always going to be available. Another great podcast we did recently, episode number 17, which was with Paul Mann, and we talked about budgets, and we talked about how you can fund your racing. So there's some other ideas in that podcast where we talked about, sponsors potentially giving you their frequent flyer points to aid in your accommodation cost, to help with your flight travels. So again, trying to work out knowing what your financials are and what you actually need, and then when you're going to that sponsor, that you can actually pinpoint and identify exactly what you need from them. So again, if you go to the Motorsport Coaching Podcast, it's available on Apple, Google, Spotify, pretty much everywhere, and type in the Motorsport Coaching Podcast. Go to episode 17, that's on budgets, and episode 22 with Scott McKenzie, and you can find out a little bit more about getting this started from a legal point of view as well as a budget point of view. I'd love to know what your biggest expense is. So again, if you're watching this a little bit later, I know it's really early. We've decided to go with this 7:30 time slot to try and get our friends in the UK to come on board, because it's about 10 o'clock at night there, and it's around about 2 o'clock over in the US. So we do have people from an international basis. So hopefully all this information is still going to be relevant to them. Their financial year is obviously a little bit later in the year. But, again, it's important for everybody to understand your expenses. That's the first thing that I try and work out when we're working with clients is what exactly do you need? People always come and say, look, we need sponsorship. But it's like, okay, well, what do you need sponsorship for? We need to break it down. How much money exactly we're looking for? People just kind of throw out these figures. I need 300,000. Yes, but what for? And again, that's what sponsors want to know. What is that money for? So you need to break it all down. You might find, again, like with the food, for example, that you might identify over the case of the weekend that you spend $500 of food between, your race team and your family and friends that attend the race meeting. So you might be able to go to IGA and say, okay, well, based on our 12 race meetings, we're after $6,000, and this is going to fund, our feeding frenzy for all the family and friends, and feeding the race team over the next 12 months. And for them, they'll be like, oh, that's fantastic, because in retrospect, they actually probably would get, free food anyway. And they always have a community budget. So if you don't know, IGA is always a great, if you've got a local IGA in your area, they're always a great prospective client, because, as I said, they've got that community budget. So they're always willing to give out, most of the time, to give out money or food, because they do have that funds available, and it's around about 7,000 to 10,000 depending on the area that you live in each year that they get per person. So follow idea out. So I'd love to know, what is your biggest expense? Is it race fees? Is it accommodation, flights? Again, if you're watching now, pop it in, or at a later stage. The more information that you guys can give to me, the more information I can get back to you to how to overcome those objectives. So the question of today is, what is your biggest expense? As I said, guys, these are just little snapshots of education that we're going to try and do each week, 5-10 minute shows. So we're just about 10 minutes now. today we talked about financials. Again, knowing your budget. I'll put up into the link a Racing Express sheet. If you want to fill it in, feel free to fill it in and send it back if you're wanting some insights to say, is this wrong? Am I really spending that much money? We do have an in-house financial planner, Paul Mann, that we work with. He's on our Motorsport Coaching Podcast, episode 17. So again, you can speak to him. I can give you all his details. And we just really want you to start budgeting and planning out in order for you to go racing. All right, guys, if you've got any questions around those topics, please pop them in if you're listening at a later stage, and we will attend to that. Otherwise, I'll put all those links in the comments. Other than that, have a fantastic day, guys. Stay warm, stay COVID-free. And we'll see you again next week. I think, next week I'm going to go through some social media updates, so what's happening, to give you some tips and strategies around all the platforms, what's new, some new features, and how you can use that for your engagement. I've just got another question coming through. When do you believe the best time to engage sponsors, considering there will be likely no nationals this year, and keep in mind we're halfway into the year? Exactly. So I did mention that from what I'm hearing through the grapevine, that no national series will be running at the this year. Now they will be cancelled due to Victoria being shut down, and the likelihood that potentially the whole state will be locked down in a couple of coming weeks, and we can't go anywhere. No one wants us. I think you should always be engaging in the sponsors. Even during COVID-19, there have been businesses that have thrived. So there's definitely sponsorship going around. I've even been contacted from random people asking to sponsor drivers at the moment. So that's been fantastic. You're always building up. I would now, if you are racing a national series, be planning for the 21 season. So, identifying what you're racing, try and base it off like the rounds to 2020. So, if you raced at Morgan Park and the Bend and Sydney Motorsport Park, still try and base it off around that, because it will be kind of similar again next year. And just trying to get those conversations starting. Everyone is now forward planning, so I think it's the best time now to really start engaging those sponsors. All right, guys, keep those questions coming in. Again, this platform's for you. We've got over 500 people now in this Facebook group. If I can't answer the question, there's a lot of other professionals in this group as well that we're happy to help. We want to help you. We want to keep you at the track. That's what I'm here for. I'm passionate about the sport. So if you've got any questions, please keep coming, because if you're thinking, other people are as well. And if I don't know the answers, I'll certainly try and research and get them for you, or get another professional in to come in and answer those questions. Have a great day, guys. And I'll see you next Thursday with those social media updates. Of course, there will be content coming through. If you didn't see yesterday, we dropped the quarterly social media content planner. So again, it's really important to keep your Facebook pages or all your platform pages up to date. It's really hard. We understand that you're not racing, but there's definitely a lot of other content that you can be doing. So if you haven't seen it, the social media content planner for the next quarter is up in the Facebook group. If you're needing some content ideas, I've got a PDF that's got over 60 ideas in it. So on that post, just put in ideas and I'll send that out to you. No problems. And again, we're here to help at any time. If anyone wants any assistance, just get in contact with us. We'll be happy to help. All right, guys, have a fantastic day, and we'll speak next week. Bye.